It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We came to Japan to be asked by Japanese police that detain mostly us foreigners on our bicycles. Do you know why we stopped you? To which we reply, oh yeah, I know why. It is as obvious as the skin on my face. Blow me, Japanese police. The Talk Funny podcast from NagoyaRadio.com and Nagoya Comedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Mark Bailey back again with Steve Howard on Talk Funny.
Hello.
What have you seen on Netflix recently?
I think the most recent thing I've been watching is Cecil Hotel, which is about the infamous hotel in downtown Los Angeles that was full of serial killers and murder. I guess it's more people have died in that hotel than any other hotel in the United States or something. But that's the most recent thing I've been watching.
There's a trend where I learned that I try to avoid it. Like they had one, what was it, Wild Country or something?
Yeah.
And they had one on, that was a little bit about Bhagwan Rajneesh,
yeah.
I think. They had another one. They had some things on Ted Bundy. I was alive for these things.
Yeah.
Why am I watching the documentary
right.
telling me what I already know?
Yeah.
It's, and then they even have one on video games we liked in the 80s. I already remember the ones I liked in the 80s.
Yeah.
I didn't need to watch this. How much do millennials not know? Good God.
I actually have a kind of a strange Ted Bundy story. I was only 2 years old, so obviously I don't remember, but there's near where we used to live in Auburn, Washington, there's a place called Lake Taps, and we were there the day apparently Ted Bundy kidnapped and killed his first two victims, because it was at Lake Taps. I don't know why, but he was in Washington State for a while, but I was apparently at the lake when old Ted was there.
Wow. One of his first hits. It's like the first Beatles album.
Yeah.
Famous. I had a story that Deborah Harry told me one time when I interviewed her. She still thinks I'm in radio. It's much further than that. I'm a podcaster now.
Right.
I'm surprised I even answer her emails now. You know what you wrote. No, but was that her? And so she told the story. She narrowly escaped his clutches.
Oh, really?
He was in New York one time, and she was walking home late. Mm-hmm. She was a model at the time and just trying her singing career. Good-looking guy, she said, and pulled up and said, where are you going? And she told him, and he said, hop in, right? And she got in the front seat, and she just glanced in the back, and the back is all plastic. It's like that movie, the Dexter. This is before Dexter was famous, right? And she goes, what's that? And he goes, well, I just don't want to get anything on them. And she goes, what would you be getting on them? On the seats, And then she's trying to open the door, and it's locked, right?
On the inside.
So what she decided to do was, this is probably good to know for anyone. She said, if I jump out while we're moving, I'll kill myself or get hit by a car. So if I jump out while we're stopped, he'll catch me. So what she did was, as soon as he started, she saw the red light. As soon as he started to stop, she jumped out, tumbled. He didn't have time to get out and chase her, but she narrowly escaped. And my teenage years, looking at the front cover of the Blondie albums, that would have really stolen a lot from me. My puberty.
Imagine no heart of glass.
that parallel lines, just her voice was enough to give me fantasies. I was 12, 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And Ted Bundy was going to rob me of that. Go to hell, Ted Bundy. That's sacrilegious. And so I was watching the stuff about Ted Bundy, and I got a friend, I call him my negative friend. He knew several of the girls. He knew so many of them, 3 or 4 of them, that the police were considering him for a while.
Oh, jeez.
He was a long-haired hippie at the time.
Wow.
And so he's told me all these stories. So I'm watching the documentary. I'm like, well, you left this part out. You didn't even have the Deborah Harry part in. I guess she doesn't want people to know that. But she told me that on New York radio. Nobody was listening, right? Yeah. There's a Netflix special. It's Tiffany Haddish, and she's trying to be the new Rodney Dangerfield. Yeah. And it's called They Ready. The comedians are very good. The only thing I don't like about it is, first time I saw it is she's only had one special before. Yeah. And then she did this, They Ready, season 1, season 2, I think. And first time I saw her, I'm like, who the hell's Tiffany Haddish? She's pretty big in L.A. The only thing I don't like about it is she talks at the beginning about the person she's going to introduce. Then she gets on stage, and then she does a little more shtick, and then she introduces the person. And then after that comedian, she gets back on and says, wasn't that comedian great? It's like, whose show is this? I mean, do you want me to watch the comedian? Maybe you could have less of it. It's kind of like with the newscasters, and they'll say, here's what we know so far about the fire, and you show me 12 seconds of a fire, and you talk about the fire, but you weren't there. Just let me see the footage, especially on YouTube. That's annoying to me.
Yeah.
It'll say the moment an elderly man was hit in the head, and you got some guy that I don't know telling me that some guy got hit in the head, and he has the same footage that I have access to. What am I watching this guy for?
Right.
Any recommendations that you would? Please don't say Tiger King.
The Tiger King, yeah.
Did you watch Tiger King?
I did.
I'm the only one that hasn't watched it, because me and Bill Maher. Bill Maher also said, if I have that many people urging me to watch it, I'm not watching it. Or I'll watch it and I won't tell anybody.
So you actually didn't watch Wild Country?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. I'm from Washington State, so all that stuff was going on, a little around Portland and Oregon. So I actually watched that one. Also because I was in the yoga cult for 7 years. So
my connection to the Bhagwan Rajneesh was one of his, I forgot what they called him, one of his sergeants, pretty high in the hierarchy, became my boss at the speechwriting job for the state capitol. And he was out there. He never cut his hair. I said, what was the best thing about that? He said the orgies. Yeah. But he had some radical views, even in the 80s. He was very weird. He was very anti-police, very much. And so there'd be a story about a policeman getting shot, and he'd go, hey, if you don't want to be stuck, don't be a pig. We're like speechwriters. We're working for lawmakers. Please don't say that again in front of... We had legislators would come in and ask us to write speeches for them to explain the law that they just co-authored. And he would just say that. He goes, I don't care who knows it. And I'd say, well, I care who knows it because I work in the same office with you. And if they close this office, I lose my job. These people write the laws. They actually think laws do things. I mean, I'm not that naive, but it's really funny. They would get up and say, if you kill someone and then someone tries to take the weapon away from you and then you kill that person, that should be a crime. I think that is a crime. Well, it should be a special crime. Well, I don't think it happens that much, but it's definitely a crime. But if you do this while you're intoxicated, that should be an additional crime. I think the murder part kind of covers everything. And then he would say, it doesn't matter when you die. We're all going to die. Who cares? They were trying to prevent car crash deaths. And so they were thinking of making the seatbelt laws, and they did, make them stricter. Of course, it was required, but they wanted to up the fines. And he said, seeing car crashes on the road is my favorite part of driving in.
Sounds like he was so spiritual.
Yeah. He was very dark.
Yeah.
And sometimes he would say, someday I'll tell you what I think about this. I'm afraid to ask what you think about that. But he would say, why do you want to reduce deaths? And because I had to write a speech on that, and he had to read it for approval. He said, why do people want to reduce deaths in car crashes? And I said, because they're bad. He goes, but
it's hard to clean up.
It's hard on the cars. I don't know. How much time you got? There's a lot of reasons. And he goes, yeah, they're always worried about keeping the death toll down. Why is that? Well, Satan, we're not all immortal. And for some of us, it's like, game over. And we don't get to play anymore. Do you understand? Sometimes I wondered if he was immortal. And he'd say, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you go to heaven or hell. He goes, for all we know, we're already in hell. And I said, yeah, sometimes I feel that way. Because he would just say whatever he wanted. And the press was everywhere. And they will write that stuff down. It's a government job. And he had a pretty high position as director. I'd have reporters come in and say, he said he thinks all drugs should be legalized. What do you think about that? And I said, yeah, I believe he said that. And they're like, well, does he believe that? And I said, well, yeah, remember, he's not elected official. Those jobs were just passed down. They were done as favors. Right. So they had a reel-to-reel machine. I helped them fix it one time. That's how I got my job there. Because they had to send to all the radio stations, and they would send a feed. I would write the feed, and then the news guys at all the different stations would read it. We were kind of a high-visibility office. And so it mattered what he told reporters. And one reporter came in, and he goes, I'll answer your questions if you take your top off. And I said, she's writing this down. This is before Me Too. This may be the reason for Me Too. And then she would turn to me. But I guess I was 20. And she'd say, is he being funny? And I said, are you laughing? That he's being funny. And she goes, why is he like that? And I said, he's unfiltered. I said, don't ask him any more questions. I'll answer. She goes, well, what if I want to ask him? I said, you ask me, then you leave the room, and then he'll tell me, and then I'll filter it, and I'll tell you. That was my job.
And you were being misogynist, right?
Can't believe you said that. Actually, I didn't say that. He said that. Are you the guy that wrote the Estonian article? Got to have callback. A few more. Let's see. What did I really like? The reason I didn't watch Tiger King is so many people told me about it that I think I know what it's about. Of course, this is not new, but South Park.
Mm-hmm.
This is something I just learned from South Park. Maybe I'm the last one to know this. Those four guys are Matt Stone and Trey Parker representing themselves.
No.
Did you know that?
Really?
That Cartman is some a-hole they knew.
Yeah.
One of my friends said, I can't stand Cartman. I said, but without Cartman, it's not funny. It's South Park. Because everybody has to explain to Cartman why he's wrong. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Apparently, Cartman was a real a-hole guy they knew. Kenny was a poor guy they knew. And one time they asked him, why does Kenny have to die in every episode? They said, because he's poor. And then Matt Stone, he's Jewish, so he is Kyle, I believe that's the Jewish one. Please don't write in, people. Anyway.
You know what you said.
The Jewish kid is Matt Stone, and then the other reasonable kid is Trey Parker. I just learned that this year. Was it in its 50th season? There's a really good Israeli one called Fauda. Have you heard of that?
No.
It means uprising. It's worldwide famous. And the drama, it's reminiscent of 24, but it's based on true stories. It's more riveting than 24. I highly recommend it. And the actors are amazing. There's just so many. I think we talked before. Was it Ozark?
Yeah.
That's one of the best. Did you finish it?
No, I haven't finished it. I'm still
Okay.
working on it. But
That one had me on the edge of my seat. And it's kind of a humorous drama. It's dark comedy drama. Jason Bateman,
Yep.
amazing deadpan.
Yeah.
When he's trying to explain to his crazy wife why we can't just leave a murder scene. It's just like, it doesn't make a lot of sense. And he said, a lot of things that have happened to us in the last week because of you fooling around are not making a lot of sense. And he's trying to explain to her why we can't run from the drug lord.
Right.
Because we have his money. They tend to care about the money. Don't you understand? Because he's explaining things really funny. It's kind of, somebody referred to it once as Hillbilly Sopranos.
Yeah.
What else? Anything that you've seen?
I watched Narcos,
Right.
the Mexican and the Colombian one, which both were excellent.
I'm just scrolling through. I got tired of The Designated Survivor with Kiefer Sutherland. I like the premise, but it's just too much girl power in that. It's just too many times where he has to be the president because he's like the 23rd cabinet member down, the only one that wasn't wiped out. So he inherits the presidency according to the rules of succession in the Constitution. But his secretary knows a lot more about being president, even though he's done it now for a year or 2 years. And the women will just say to these guys, I'm not afraid to say this. My name is Intisar Tofi. You can write me. And this is a recurring theme. He'll say something about, well, I need to save as many people as I can, even if the two people we sent don't make it back, even if the helicopter doesn't make it back. And then a woman will inevitably say, you don't understand. People are going to die. Yeah, I just said that some people may die, and I'm trying to prevent that. But you don't understand. You're the president. Yeah, I understand that I'm the president. That's the whole theme of this whole show. I think everybody understands. But you don't understand. Guns use bullets.
You know what you wrote.
But you don't understand. Your Estonian article was wrong. I know some people shun foreign films, but there's a lot of them on Netflix. And one of them is called Signs, and it's in Finnish. And it's a fantastic drama. It's a crime drama about an autistic policeman. And everybody thinks he's crazy, and he's solving all of these crimes. I highly recommend it. Of course, it has English subtitles. And there's one, you saw my jacket. I think I talked to Tim about it before, but there's one called Subura. It's from Italy, and it's about the oldest slum in the world from Rome, and based on true story. And it's fantastic. They have it also in English. It's it's a cross between Sopranos and Dynasty.
Oh, really? Huh.
And very well done. And, I'm afraid that Americans who don't want, hey, if it's a good movie, it'll be in English. Well, Fellini would disagree a little bit. I think Kurosawa might even disagree. And, they had, if it's a good story, it'll be in English. Plato might disagree with that. I don't think Plato wrote in English. Shakespeare didn't even really write in what we call English now. Beowulf, try reading that. Well, the Bible was written in English. Okay, you got me.
So don't use any of that English profanity, right?
Right. So Bleeding Empire, I've not seen that. Looks like it has some nice eye candy. I Am a Killer, that's one of those. I did watch that. And it's basically people who've admitted they've committed murders. But most of these, like I said, I was alive when these happened, so I remember these people. So it's kind of like, oh, that's who Ted